I,
What is HIV?
what I know from HIV is that it's an autoimmune deficiency.
It's like a immune.
Human immunodeficiency virus.
So it pretty much attacks your immune system.
And I believe it attacks your T cells, I think.
HIV can develop into AIDS.
So you get sick for any little thing, and
You get sick by other means and you eventually die, but that's all I really know.
It's an STD.
It's a disease, sexually transmitted disease.
Well, I assume it's sexually transmitted, and that's it, right?
Typically, everyone thinks of it as an STD.
However, it's also associated with those who do risky activities, such as IV drug use.
Because of the needle and it's not sterilized, then that could, go into the person.
It has to be blood-to-blood contact. It has to be an open wound, blood-to-blood's got contact where you get it. See, a lot of people don't know this. They assume off the toilet, off of eating something. No, you don't do it that way. Or sucking some out of the straw and drink. No, that doesn't happen that way.
When I was young and I found out I was HIV positive, I could not tell a soul. I was petrified. The person that told me pretty much told me, you have 2 years to get your life in order because you've got about a 2-year lifespan.
I lived through the worst epidemic that probably this country has seen in my lifetime at least. I saw all my friends die from HIV and AIDS, and it was a terrible time. We're talking about literally from like 1979 through about 1990.
I remember it during the Dallas Fires Club time, and I probably lost over 90% of my friends to complications, or they committed suicide.
I lost a brother to the disease. I've had cousins die of the disease. I've had friends of friends and relatives of friends die of the same disease.
It's truly devastating when you open the paper every day and page after page after page are filled with death notices of people that are in their 20s and 30s. Very hard to watch.
Young kids didn't go through the epidemic like some of us did, so they have no clue what we really went through. All they do is hear about it, so they need to be educated so that doesn't happen to them.
Clearly there's a stigma. That has not gone away. It's certainly gotten better than it was 30 years ago, but right now it's still a stigma.
I think just about anywhere you go, there's a stigma, and it needs to be removed because it stands in the way of people getting treatment, it stands in the way of people getting tested, and it stands in the way of people being accepted.
I don't think it is as bad as it was before, because I think it was such a death sentence. But I think it has changed. And I think, unfortunately, it's changed in such a way that it makes people not as protected as they should be as well.
People just feel uncomfortable. There's something about how it's transmitted and what was involved in the contraction of this disease that makes people very uncomfortable and uneasy about talking about it or discussing it.
Some are ashamed, some figure that you won't have anything to do with them if they're positive. I don't feel that way.
You automatically start jumping into conclusions like, oh, okay, maybe he's homosexual, things of that sort, without really knowing the true nature behind the disease.
I find in talking to my family and sisters and brothers even, that it's an iffy situation. They have some preconceived notions that are wrong, but I continue to talk to them, and I hope all people will at least engage in a conversation about it.
Once you have it, you can give it to anyone. It's pretty easy to spread, but it's also pretty easy to not get HIV if you're smart about it.
There's a lot that we can do to reduce the epidemic.
Don't share needles and practice safe sex.
Safe sex.
Using a condom.
In other words, put a raincoat before you go on the rain. Simple as that,
Educate, educate, educate.
Education and knowledge.
I think that the most important thing is just educating our community and getting them on board and knowing what is available, how to prevent this from happening.
I think it's roughly 62%, or it was perhaps more than that, 75% of the people in the Coachella Valley did not know their HIV status. That was just overwhelming to us.
People are afraid about AIDS, getting AIDS, whatever, but a lot of them don't know exactly how you really get it. You know, I wish someone would come out and explain how they can really get it, you know.
So we decided to start a campaign to educate the population and have everybody in this valley tested so that they learn about their status.
I have never heard of the PrEP before.
Nope, I haven't yet.
A meditation?
No, I haven't.
Oh, medication, no.
Yes, I have.
It's a pill. I'm pretty sure it's blue? White? Blue?
I have. I'm actually on PrEP.
It's supposed to prevent HIV.
PrEP is a prophylactic. I think it's about 90-something% as safe as a condom.
Pre-exposure prophylaxis. Right now we're using a drug called Truvada. It's made up of 2 drugs, Virine and Entreva. It's taken once a day.
With the introduction of PrEP into all of our lives, we have started to take a small turn in our attitudes. People are much more aware, and they're feeling, I think people are feeling more hopeful and more positive.
And I think that PrEP is not going to be our salvation, but it's certainly going to help in the process of stopping the spread of HIV.
I just decided that as part of my lifestyle as a sexually active adult, it was important to have, so I talked to my healthcare provider.
It's about teaching people, and it's one of the responsibilities of Desert AIDS Project, but it's also responsibility of the medical community to educate people about what PrEP is and how effective it can be.
No, my doctor has not addressed HIV testing with me at all.
I don't believe that HIV is part of the regular testing.
I have a great doctor who makes it routine, and whether I've had one partner or more than one, he just makes it standard across the board, and that's what I prefer.
Now with the trans community, I don't see a lot of them telling me that they're being asked that, even though they're high risk for it. So that would be something I think would be maybe an understanding between the primary care providers in this community, that's going to be a standard practice, may be important to apply in a policy.
If you're getting an annual checkup, that should be a part of it, just like your hormones, your cholesterol, and everything else that you do, that should be a maintenance that goes with it.
It is easy, it is a saliva draw, and my results came back in 20 minutes.
The process took 5-7 minutes, very easy, few questions.
It was so easy, and you know, he did it with so little fanfare that when he came in and told me I was negative, I said, well, only because I've had a bad day. I'm usually pretty chipper.
Please, if you are of sexual age and if you're sexually active, get tested.
I think everyone should be tested and everyone should be aware of what that disease actually is.
Be a responsible member of your community and get tested.
If I can get tested, you can get tested.
I suggest get tested. It's for free. Why not get tested, man? Everybody should get tested.
Get tested.
Get tested.
Get tested.
Get tested. Get tested. You'll be glad you did. You truly will.